Hi everyone, it's Joyelle here from Parenting with PTSD. And it's been a while since I've been on just to say hi to you. So I'm here at the beginning of this new year, 2019, and I wanted to talk about uncovering untruths through poetry. And for those of you who are familiar with the work that I do, you know that I have a great belief in the healing power of the arts, and that when we are working to recover our bodies and souls and minds from the trauma that happened in our childhoods, using any form of art is such a powerful, powerful tool. And even if you don't feel like you are a creative person yourself, we often find healing in other people's arts. Dawn and I, a few years ago, made up a survivors playlist of favorite songs that we felt were really empowering or really expressed a truth about abuse recovery or living through abuse that was helpful. We've all had times in our lives when a poem or a book or a song was there to help support us through a time when we were really struggling with our PTSD, with just the after effects of living through childhood abuse. And so today I wanted to share two poems with you that I think really help uncover some truths and uncover the lies that we tell ourselves to reveal the truths in our healing journey. Because one of the most challenging parts of recovering from abuse is learning to unearth the stories that you have told yourself about who you are because of the abuse happening to you. And whether it's something that you told yourself or your abuser outright told you, there are a lot of uncovered beliefs that need to have some light shone on them so that we can clear out those false beliefs. And it's not like it happens automatically. It's not like you look at it one day and say, aha, I see, I believe this about myself, and then it's just gone. Of course, it takes years and years of mindful attention to what's happening inside your brain and working to rewire these patterns. But always the first step is discovering that that thought exists. So I have two different poets whose work I wanted to share today. This one here, The Princess Saves Herself, in this one by Amanda Lovelace, is a really fantastic poetry collection that is written by a survivor of childhood abuse. It covers topics relating to child abuse, intimate partner abuse, bullying, sexual assault, self-harm, eating disorders, queerphobia, menstruation, alcoholism, racism, trauma, death, suicide, grief, cancer, and fire, and possibly more, it says. I love that she has a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. And there are tons of fantastic poems in here. And I think this one is especially, I would definitely recommend this book for anybody who has been abused by a mother. I know it's harder to find materials on that topic, and that's covered in here. But I wanted to read one of the short poems from this collection. Just because they don't hit you, just because they don't hit you doesn't mean it isn't abuse. Wouldn't you think it a crime to look up at the night sky and tell the stars that they have no sparkle? Guess what? You shine brighter than all the starlight there has ever been or ever will be. Emotional abuse is still abuse. I love that line. Wouldn't you think it a crime to look up at the night sky and tell the stars that they have no sparkle? I was reading an article yesterday about the idea of power, and that in order to have true personal power, we need to believe in our own worthiness. And that's a really challenging thing as an abuse survivor, because one of the big stories that ends up in your head is that you are never good enough. You are never worthy. And this story in my life has played out as often as perfectionism, often as workaholism, often as doing way too much for other people, because there was this belief that I was just so lucky that anybody would even want me around. So I better make sure that I prove my worth to them by doing things for them. And the idea that I have worth and value on my own is a hard one. I think it's hard for everybody in this culture. We definitely live in a culture of productivity equals worth. And to let go of that idea and to believe that you have merit, your life has merit and value, regardless of what you do with it, is challenging. Next, I just wanted to read one short line from a poem by David Whyte. This is from his book, The House of Belonging. I just had an amazing experience. I got to go listen to David Whyte in person, which if you ever get the opportunity to see David Whyte in person, go take it. It's just transformative and amazing and inspiring. And there was this one line in his poem. The poem is What to Remember When Waking. And this line from the poem was interesting because I heard him read it and there was something in there that I just couldn't latch onto. And so I went and I got the book and I read it to myself. And when I came across this line, tears sprang to my eyes. And the line is, "You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited." You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited. And that speaks to an idea of belonging that can be really hard as abuse survivors to believe is possible, that we belong here. Speaking again to that idea of being worthy of anything good in our lives. And poetry has this ability to phrase things in a way that cuts through to the heart of the feeling and transcends even the way the words themselves come together. And when I heard that phrase, it reminded me of a song my friend Jody Prosnick wrote. And at the end of the song, she has this line, "Living in this world as if it were home." And that song gutted me in that same way. Living in this world as if it were home. It's so funny because when you think about that of course this is home. And yet for so many of us, the idea of home, the idea of belonging has been twisted. And trying to come on the other side of that and believe in our own worth and belonging in this world, when often many of our life experiences have shown us that we don't belong, that we don't fit in, is a real challenge. And one of the things that I loved about listening to David Whyte at that poetry retreat is that the sort of philosophy that he works from is about spending your life sitting with questions, not necessarily looking to solidify an answer, but just asking a simple question and spending some time with it. And when we're trying to uncover these false beliefs in our minds, I think sitting with it in the form of a question can be a really powerful practice to start changing the pathways in our brains. And so I would like to ask you to sit with this question. What if I could live in this world as if it were home? What if I am, in a spiritual sense, invited into something better, bigger, more expansive than I've believed is possible for myself? You can phrase however you want, but just maybe sit with this question of what if? Whenever you're facing a negative belief that has been ingrained over a lifetime, trying to outright make a counter statement, a positive statement, to counter a negative belief can feel like it's just too far a leap to go. So in that space in between the negative belief and the positive belief, you could just sit with a question. So if the negative belief that you're sitting with is, I am not worthy, I don't deserve good things. And of course, the positive counter statement to that would be, I am worthy, I do deserve good things in my life. But when you set up that duality, you'll often find that that just invites that cruel little voice in your head to say, no, you aren't, which does not accomplish what we're hoping to accomplish there, right? So instead, the question, what if I am worthy? What if I do belong? And you don't have to have an answer to this question. Just allow it to be there. Just this little question in the background. So that is my thoughts today on poetry and healing. And I wanted to let you know that in the next few weeks, I'm going to start doing some interviews again here on the page. I'm very excited. I'll be posting later today about an interview with Jason Lee that'll be happening later this week. Super excited to talk to him about his book and about the work that he is doing in this world. So I'll tell you more about that soon. And in the meantime, if you see at the top of our page, if you aren't already, hop on and sign up for our newsletter, and you can receive the introduction to parenting with PTSD for free. As soon as you sign up for our email list, it'll get automatically sent out to you. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. This is Joyelle from Parenting with PTSD. You can find me at parentingwithptsd.com and at joyellebrandt.com. If you are interested in working with me, I do work with mostly mothers and also new couples who are planning to have children who are struggling with how to manage their trauma triggers while having children. So I hope you found something in there that was helpful for you. And please go and do something kind for yourself today. Bye, everybody.